See what I did with the title, eh? I switched up the wording because the original title for the book is Worst Years of My Life. Now I changed it to be Worst Movie Adaptation of My Life. Well, at least you're now keeping your promise about reviewing stuff you mentioned earlier. Now all you need is a Nerd Writer 1 homage, the rest of Red Letter Media review, as well as... Let me first do this, okay? Well, if you're doing the criticisms, you have no need for me to be here. I guess I'll just leave. Bye. Bye?
Aye, oh, let's go. Aye, oh, let's go.
Hey, remember the middle school series? I don't blame you if you don't. I didn't until a few years ago. And to review this movie, first I need to talk about the book. Usually, annoying readers will say the book is better. And sometimes it's true. If you make a good movie, then it's okay if you change the few things. The problem lies when the movie deviates too much from what makes the book great. It makes such an inferior film. The first book is actually a little bit dark, with the main character Ralph Cachadorian having no friends, unless you want to count his imaginary dead brother, as well as this love interest that has no feelings towards Ralph. And he has to deal with an abusive, alcoholic stepdad, as well as a bully. To say the least, this book goes hard. The only moments that are supposed to be funny are at the expense of the main character's well-being and his self-deprecating humor. He has to deal with being the new kid at school, having an annoying sister, as well as a constant reminder that without his stepdad, his mom would be living on the streets. The title of the book doesn't do any justice to what actually happens. There's even a scene where it's heavily implied the mom gets hurt by the dad. Overall, it's a very dark story. And what ruins it would be the bully scenes portrayed as comical and one-dimensional, with Ralph never even resolving this issue. It's all depressing as you see a 6th grader go through life unnoticed, or sometimes embarrassed for the things he gets in trouble for. At the same time, the punishments he faces are all well-deserved. You see, the main premise for the middle school book is that Ralph, a new student at his middle school, is trying to break all the rules as a personal challenge set up by his imaginary deceased brother, starting off with pulling the fire alarm. The journey is all done solo since he's the only incel in the school. With such a premise, a bystander would say, "Wow, how dumb. He makes his mom feel miserable and embarrassed to have such a virgin son." And I agree, it is aggravating to have Ralph getting in trouble, only to feel bad over doing it. Like, dude, just don't do it if you feel bad. Don't worry, he later sets up a rule that no one should get hurt, and getting away is the goal. However, by the end, after all the drama, he gets rightfully expelled for getting caught one too many times, leaving off with a bittersweet ending. Overall, it's kind of clunky in tone to say the least, and the jokes do not help alleviate the mood after talk of a dead sibling. I think the main problem with the book is the author James Patterson kinda sucks at dialogue, especially inner dialogue. The main character is supposed to be sort of relatable, so he is a first-person narrator for the rest of the story. However, it just comes off as James Patterson, a 50-year-old man, writing dialogue for kids. Kinda like Slenderman. Does anybody remember that film? And the drawings definitely don't help when it's talking about a dark subject matter. And then you have little jokes like this. While we're on the subject of this, I wanted to talk about the art of this book. It's very creative, and it feels like a kid actually drew it. It's weird having this sort of drawings and novel thing that authors are really doing nowadays. It just feels like the drawings are used to give a visual, and with middle school, they are sometimes used inappropriately. Like here, where Ralph is getting bullied, it's played as comical, where the words in the book aren't playing it completely straight. Or here, where the mom gets hurt. Doesn't it seem kinda goofy to have paragraphs speak of these dark subjects, only for the drawings to have awkward placements? If this was my book, I would either have kooky drawings with a kooky little plot, or just have it straight and then have serious drawings, or maybe balance it all out. And that's the main thing with James Patterson. If you see the books that he's published, they're really weird in tone. They talk about dead mothers, and then they have weird characters. He has to learn to have his weird drawings in silly spots and no drawings when it's serious. But either way, James Patterson has very cringe dialogue. It clumsily juggles the angst of being a tween, and the target demographic is very confusing. Ralph is not exactly a suburban kid. He lives in the grimy outskirts of the city, in some trailer park place, as illustrated in the book. Overall, its tone is not consistent, but one thing is for sure, with all the subjects touched upon, I wouldn't really recommend it. And the later books are really damn right silly, jumping the shark with this. It's no longer troublemaking kid struggling with depression. Now it's, look, he's in Australia. Isn't that wacky? Whatever. They ruined what little potential this concept had. And I think the peak is the second book. I recommend that. But boy, oh boy, James, you son of a gun. Why did you accept that check?
Hi, I'm miserable.
Miserable? Is that your first or last name?
Stop kidding, James. You know my name.
Yep.
James, you have no idea of the pain and suffering of my existence, the feeling of total desperation and intimidation and anxiety and trepidation and...
Please, stop.
So, what do you do with a very depressing book? A book that touches on stuff like abuse, lying, rule breaking, and serious consequences of arrest. Well, you turn it into a wacky Nickelodeon movie, of course. Why does he have a girl sidekick? Who cares? It's all about showing the principal who runs the school. Ralph is an introverted artist. Just make that his quirk. His drawings suck anyways. Compare these neat visuals by artists. The attention to detail and creativity, the messiness yet quirk. And now look at this. Oh man, isn't this quirky? It just looks generic, to be honest. This movie tries to be cheeky, but comes off as completely cringe. The art only plays as a prank role. In the books, the story revolves around Ralph's ability to draw. He uses drawing as a way to cope with his situation. He is accepted into an art school in the second book for his creativity, and even shows he might be a lousy student, but at least has a chance to be an artist in the future. Here, oh, look at this. Look at the walls. He's so creative. Oh, look at this. He did little sticky note drawings with the walls. Oh, isn't that quirky? Just a flipping quirk. The dead brother plot twist at the end is completely and utterly pointless. In the book, Ralph just mentions it and gets it out of the way without fooling anybody. And the principal is damn right wacky. Why is he so silly? He's supposed to be a principal of a school, not a 90s villain from a cartoon show. This is the worst thing that's happened to me ever since the internet diagnosed me with polio and cancer.
Oh my gosh! That could have been me!
Nothing is worse than this movie. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie. This version of Ralph creates elaborate and highly unlikely pranks, 'cause he's such a prankster in the school. I mean, the book was somewhat grounded in reality, and here? Oh yeah, very likely for this kid to just put a billion balls in a room under 12 hours. It's so cartoony, and the setting changed. This Ralph lives in suburbia now, I guess. And the principal? He's a comic relief bad guy. The reason Ralph portrays the principal as a goofy villain in the book is because he views him that way, and it's understandable for a middle school student to see an authority figure as an antagonist. However, this doesn't translate to film because in the film, he just seems goofy. So the director probably just saw this and said, yeah, I'll just make him a wacky antagonist. These Hollywood hacks are totally inept. Also, the dad isn't abusive to say, but a generic bad guy dad with no motivation other than he's an asshole. This is an embarrassment. James Patterson, I hope you're happy with your fat check, you hack. Ooh, ouch. That even hurt me. Hey, you came back? I had to come back and tell you to help me with the Christmas tree. Oh my god, I forgot it was Xmas month. Yeah, you better be jolly, 'cause I'm not used to seeing you like this. Sorry. I just don't want books I like to end up as trashy movies. Come on, let's go watch that Avengers Initiation trailer. You mean Annihilation? No, Restoration. No, I think it's interpretation. Meditation? Intuition. Ah, shut up.